Hello everyone, Melissa Wick here. Thank you for joining me and welcome. I am very honored and grateful to be able to share your yoga practice with you. So here is a full class and we'll be exploring the range of motion in our hips, getting a nice good stretch, opening up and strengthening at the same time. It is a well-balanced flow, so we'll be exploring other parts of the body. We'll be connecting with our breath and our mind, just bringing ourselves into stillness. And so I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think of the video, and you can also know when a new video is ready for you by subscribing. So let's take this class at our own pace and let's get started. Let's begin on our backs. So we can start in Supta Baddha Konasana, so soles of the feet to touch with your knees open. Give yourself a little wiggle to get comfortable, maybe gently squeeze the shoulder blades together, making sure the palms are flipped open towards the sky. So we keep this opening in the heart center. Or maybe you want to bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart. Or maybe you want to start with your arms up overhead. So wherever you feel called to in this moment. Then we'll close the eyes here or bring your gaze down towards the tip of the nose as we start to move away from the outside external world and start to settle in into the internal world. We'll begin by taking 5 deep breaths together, in and out through the nose. So take a breath in, exhale out, breathe in, exhale out. In, exhale, breathe in, breathe out. Last one, breathe in, breathe out. Let your breath be natural here. Noticing how even just 5 simple, deep, conscious breaths can start to still the mind and allow you to become a little bit more present. So let go here of any expectations you may have for your practice, giving yourself the gift and the permission to be here with yourself wherever you're at today. And I invite you to keep this quality of breathing throughout your practice. And from here, we'll start to gently close the legs. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Just give yourself a little squeeze. Maybe you want to gently shift from side to side. And then we'll take our hands down by our sides with your palms down and extend your legs into tabletop. So legs are hip width distance apart. Your shins are parallel to the ceiling and your feet are flexed. Notice here if your tailbone is curling forward and there's a lift in your low back, just gently you can take your hand to your belly and start to curl your tailbone forward as if you're zipping up a tight pair of jeans, and that'll draw your back towards the mat. So see if you can keep this core engagement as we move through this exercise. So we're going to take our left thumb into the crease of the left hip. And that's just there as a reminder to stay grounded. And then our right hand palm is down for support. We're going to keep our core engaged the whole time. Your left leg is not going to move. It's going to stay exactly where it is. And we're just going to start to open up that right leg towards the right. So you keep that 90-degree angle of your knee. Only go as far as you can go so your hips don't move off the mat. And then we'll breathe in and come back to tabletop. So exhale it out. Inhale back in. So keep that going at your own pace, making sure you are still connected to your breath, keeping your feet flexed. So you might start to feel your obliques turn on as you move through this hip exploration. So just exploring your range of motion, moving around here in that hip joint. Keep that belly button drawing in towards the back of the spine. And just do a couple more on this side. Keep that left hip stuck to the mat there. Nice. And then when you're done your last two, take both legs over to the left. Arms can come out into a T shape with your palms up. Or you can take your left hand and hold on to your right thigh for support as you start to stretch out the back and the spine and the shoulders. Maybe your gaze comes over to the right. Draw yourself back to center. Plant both feet flat on the mat. You're going to cross your right ankle, let it clear your left thigh, flex your right foot. And then from here, we're going to thread the needle. So you can take your right hand in between the legs, interlace your hands behind the back of the left thigh. Now if you find here that in order to reach your thigh, you have to round and lift your tailbone, then you've gone a little too far. Maybe you use a strap, or maybe you just plant that left foot back down and take your right hand to your right thigh and gently open up the thigh away from your face. You'll still get a nice stretch. So relax the shoulders, keep the back of the neck lengthened, and then send your breath deeply into that right hip. Maybe here you play with shimmying your legs a little over to the left. You might feel a different sensation. And we'll release. Just come back to your feet flat on the mat. We'll reset. Take your palms down facing down to the mat. And then from here, we'll zip that belly button up and in again. So curl the tailbone, back of the back is on the mat. And then we'll start to lift the legs into tabletop with your feet flexed. So find that imprint of your back to the mat. Flex the feet, 90-degree angle in your knees. Now take your right thumb into the hip crease on the right side. Now keep your sit bones glued to the mat, and then we'll start our hip exploration here on the left. So left leg's gonna open up, and then we'll draw it back in. So move at your own pace with your own rhythm of breath, keeping that 90-degree angle in both legs. Right leg does not move. Start to feel your core engaged, even your left inner thigh starts to activate. Just becoming curious of the sensations you feel and being curious where your mind takes you while you do this. See if you can stay present. Just do a couple more on this side. And then when you're done your last two, take your knees over to the right, arms out into a T. Maybe you take your right hand and hold on to that left thigh for support as you gently start to open up through the spine. Release, come back to center. Plant both feet flat on the mat. You're gonna cross your left ankle over the right thigh. Let your ankle clear. Left foot is flexed, and then find your variation of your thread the needle. So either left hand on your left thigh bone, pushing it away, or interlace your hands behind the back of the right thigh. Soften those shoulders, relax the jaw. Maybe you close your eyes. And then just stay here with one breath at a time. Maybe you shift your legs over a little to the right. Send your breath to that left hip. And then we'll release. Drop both knees in towards your chest, hands underneath the backs of the knees. And then give yourself a couple rocks. If rocking doesn't feel good for your spine, you can just come off to the side and meet me in tabletop. So crossing your ankles at the front, shimmy your way back. Spread your fingers wide. Arms are shoulder width distance. Legs are hip width distance apart. Move through your cat-cow. So inhale, we'll lift the gaze. Send the sit bones back. Exhale, curl and round. Inhale draws you forward. Exhale, we round. Making this exploration feel really good to you. Inhale. Exhale, round. Come to neutral tabletop here. You're gonna find balance in both hands. You're gonna extend the right leg back behind you with your toes facing down. Keep a tone in your belly. Now from here, you're going to inhale, start to open up and stack that right hip over the left. Keep your shoulders level if you can. So the inner edge of your right foot is parallel to the bottom of the mat. Pause here, inhale. Exhale, we're going to come through center, curl, and round. Find that cat, knee to nose. Inhale, come back to that stacked hip, flex the foot, open the hip, and then exhale, round, curl, knee to nose. Inhale, stack it open, flex the right foot. Exhale, curl, round. Last one. Inhale, stack it open, flex the foot. And then from here, place that right foot down to the mat and then pivot on your left knee so your left shin wings out to the left. Your left shin now is parallel to the top of the mat. Gate pose. So right arm's going to lift up towards the sky. And then take your palm to face down and fingertips towards the top of the mat. And find this long stretch from your outer edge of your right foot all the way through to your fingertips. And then gently press your hip bones forward and then open up the chest, glide that shoulder down and away from the ear. Let's return back to table with care. From here, we're going to take a few cat-cows, but with our hands flipped. So try to bring your fingertips toward you. You might need to bring your hands a little closer to you. If you can't reach your fingers toward you, maybe just try with your fingers facing out here. I don't have a lot of range in my wrists, so I need to bring my knees a little bit closer. So from here, I'm going to inhale to cow. Exhale and round. You might not be able to go as far. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. And then from here, we're going to slowly tuck your toes under and slowly peel your hands, lifting your heels first if your fingers are facing toward you. And then just feel this nice stretch throughout the forearms and the hands and the fingertips. Draw your legs close together and then sit your sit bones back on your heels. You can just relax the wrists, maybe roll them out a couple times here as you get a stretch in your toes as well. Maybe a shoulder roll if that feels good. And then we'll come back to tabletop. Knees back to hip width distance apart. Find the evenness on both sides, slight tone in your belly so we're not letting our belly sink. We're going to extend the left leg back, toes face down. Even out the weight. Keep the shoulders level and then start to stack open the hips. So your left inner edge of the foot is parallel to the mat. Breathe in. Exhale, come through center, round and curl knee to nose. Puff up the upper back. Inhale, come back to that stacked hip. Foot is flexed. Exhale, round and curl. Inhale, stack the hips. Exhale, round and curl. Inhale, stack the hips, pause. Exhale, lower the left foot down to the ground and then pivot on that right knee so your right ankle comes out to the right. Gate pose, left arm reaches up, open it up, and then reach your fingertips towards the front of the mat with your palm face down. Find this extension and breathe here. And then exhale, come back to tabletop. Maybe here, walk your hands a little bit farther ahead, tuck your toes under, and then find yourself here in down dog. You can explore here for the first few breaths, pedaling out your feet maybe, bending one knee and the other, just gently releasing the neck. Play with bending your knees a lot to find the length in the spine, so pushing evenly through the palms and glide those shoulder blades down the back. Reach your chest towards the tops of the thighs as your sit bones reach up and back, and maybe start to find some length in the legs. Inhale, ripple yourself forward to a high plank. And then exhale, you can bring your knees down if you'd like. Come down to your belly. Elbows stay hugged in. Point your toes. Come onto your fingertips. So fingertips in front and maybe wide off your mat. Elbows towards the ceiling. Tops of the feet stay down. Pubic bone towards the mat. And then inhale, your upper back is going to lead as you roll through here with your head coming up last. And then exhale, your belly, chest, chin, forehead come down. So 2 more times like that. Inhale, roll, full breath and movement. Make sure your pinky toes are still on the ground. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, we lower. Take your hands by your chest. Elbows hug in, shoulders down, cobra. Inhale. Exhale, lower, tuck your toes underneath. You're going to inhale to push yourself through table or high plank. Exhale back, downward dog. Bend your knees, look between your hands, empty out the breath, and then walk or step to the top of your mat. Feet hip width distance, inhale, halfway lift. Find that flat back, long line from the root to the crown. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise, arms lift up with you. Exhale, hands come through, prayer, heart center. And then take your hands down. Right hand stays down. Inhale, left arm's going to reach up and over to the right side. Stretch. Ground down through that left foot. Keep the chest nice and open. Inhale, center. Exhale, right arm lifts. Inhale, come back to center. Release. Big breath in, arms lift. Exhale, fold over the hips, slight bend in the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant your palms, take a step back to high plank. Belly is drawing in. Nice, strong legs here. And then shift yourself forward as you exhale, bend at the elbows. Come down either halfway to up dog or just like we did down to your belly in cobra. So if you're an up dog or cobra, your heels of your hands are drawing back as you reach your heart forward and up. On your exhale, your belly button draws into the back of the spine and come back to down dog. Take a few breaths here. You're going to inhale your right leg high, three-legged dog. Exhale, step your foot through the hands. Left knee comes down, low lunge, Anjaneyasana, thumbs back, pinkies forward. Maybe you start here with 2 right ankles in your legs. From here, you're going to draw your hip bones forward and up, so your tailbone's curling forward. Maybe you gently clench your left glute and you might find a bit more of an opening here in your psoas. Now, if you can keep this here, maybe you start to hinge your hips a little more forward. You can shimmy that right foot forward so you keep your ankle in line with the knee, and then arms can lift. You're going to take your hands down to the inside of the right leg, heel toe that right foot out to the side, and the toes on an angle facing towards the top right corner of the mat. Now, option here to power up your back leg. You can keep the left knee down here. Keep this dynamic, so right heel drawing back, left toes drawing forward. We're going to come into this long lizard shape, so you can walk your hands forward onto your fingertips, glide the shoulders down the back, and then try to keep your head in line with the spine here. We're going to take about 4 breaths. Keep drawing that right heel back, left toes forward. So we're supporting here as we open. Take your hands down back in line with your shoulders. Take your left knee down to the mat. Take your right hand just to the right thigh and start to push that right thigh away. So you'll come onto the outer edge of the right foot. So make sure you're pushing close to your hip bone rather than on your knee, so you're not pulling on the knee. You can glide that right shoulder down the back, maybe invite in a bit of a twist. Come back to that flat foot with that right foot. Take your hand down. We're going to step our left foot forward into malasana, so a squat. So you can power up the back leg and then take that step forward. Heels in, toes slightly out. Set your sit bones towards the ground. If this is not happening, you can always take a block or a cushion to sit on. So toes are out, heels in. Take your hands to prayer. Use your triceps to gently push open the inner thighs. Try to keep your knees in line with your knees and weight right in the middle of the foot, so we're not drawing to the inner edges of the feet. Try to bring them more towards the outer edges. So you have a long line from your root all the way through to the crown of the head. Relax those shoulders and stay close to your breath. Take your hands down and then lift your sit bones up. Heel toe your feet hip width distance apart. Find ragdoll. So grab opposite elbows, bend your knees, relax your head. Maybe just gently nod yes, no. Maybe sway a bit. You can breathe out through your mouth whenever you need. Come back to stillness. Take your hands down to the mat. We're going to breathe in into Utkatasana, chair pose. So inhale, bend the knees, arms are going to lift. Sit back as if you're going to sit on a chair. can keep your feet hip width distance apart here. Draw your tailbone forward and down and draw your belly button in. It's going to feel a little awkward. And then see if you can see your toes. You want to hug the shin bones back in space. Glide the shoulders down the back. If it's too much on your shoulders, you can bring your hands in line with the shoulders with the palms down. And then inhale your way up to stand. Exhale, take your hands behind your back, interlace them, open up the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together. You can bend the knees a bit here if you'd like. Maybe you bare the throat. And here we're gonna exhale, bend the knees, send your hips back in space as you fold with your hands interlaced. Release the head. With care, take your hands back to low back and then release. And then inhale, halfway lift to cleanse. Exhale, plant your palms, take a step back to high plank. Now flow here, your choice, either come down halfway or to your belly, up dog or cobra. Moving with integrity. Exhale your way back, down dog. Take 5 breaths here for yourself. Take care. What do you need? Do you need to rest? Do you need to drink some water, child's pose, or stay in down dog and refine your downward dog? Wherever you are, let's meet back in down dog. Inhale your left leg up, 3-legged dog. Exhale. Take your foot between the hands, low lunge. Maybe start here with the 2 right angles. Hands on your thigh. Tuck that tailbone forward. Maybe gently squeeze your right glute. And then if you still have that space, maybe you find that hinge forward. Arms lift. Take your hands down to the inside of the left leg. Heel toe your left foot out to the left. Toes towards the top left corner of the mat. You can tuck your toes under here to power up, or you can keep your right knee down. We're gonna find that long lizard. So take your hands for a walk in front of you, fingertips, or maybe just on your palms. Glide those shoulders down the back, head in line with the spine. So your gaze is just down towards the floor, and you can close your eyes here. And the left heel is drawing back as your right toes draw forward, and we're reaching through the crown of the head as the shoulders glide down. So this dual energy working in every direction here, all coming from the midline. So find your breath. From here, take your hands back underneath the shoulders, right knee comes down. Take your left hand to that left thigh. Start to come onto the outer edge of the left foot. Gently push this thigh away. Glide the left shoulder down the back. Maybe invite in a bit of a twist. And then take that left foot flat on the mat. You're going to get ready for Malasana. So stepping your right foot forward, toes out, heels slightly in, bend the knees, find your squat. Come back to that prayer position. You can stay here, or you can take your right fingertips out to the right, and then maybe you lift that left arm open for a twist. So use that right tricep to open up the inner right thigh. Use that traction to find your wingspan. Exhale, release. Left fingertips out to the left, left thigh, hugging into the left tricep, right arm opens up, twist. Exhale, release, forward fold. So sit bones lift, heel toe your feet hip width distance. Release the head. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair. Nice bend in the knees. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, interlace the hands, open up the chest. Breathe in, open up. Bend the knees, exhale, fold with the hands interlaced. Take your hands down to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Plant your palms, step back, high plank. Breathe in to prepare. Exhale, hug the elbows in as you come down, either halfway, up dog, or cobra. Exhale back, down dog. Take a few breaths here for yourself. And then let's continue. Inhale your right leg up. Stack open the hips, bend that top knee. Keep the shoulders level to the top of the mat. Exhale, come through, warrior two. Right foot between the hands, left heel comes down, left toes spiral out. Cartwheel the arms, open, warrior two. Outer edge of the left foot is grounded. Bend in that right knee. Torso right over the sacrum, so we're not leaning too forward. Look beyond your right fingers. Make sure you can see that right big toe. Draw that knee open towards the second and third toe. Strong warrior. Take your right forearm to your right thigh, extended side angle. So left fingertips can be towards the ceiling, or if you want that full arch, you can reach your fingertips towards the top of the mat. Maybe you bring that right hand down to the mat. Inhale, come back to warrior two. Lengthen that right leg out. We're going to find triangle. Start to reach towards the top of the mat. Keep that right side lifted. And then right hand comes down either to your shin nice and gently, or to the ground, or back of the right hand to the inside of the right leg. And then whatever's comfortable for your neck. Maybe you look to your left hand. Use this traction with your right hand if your palm is extended. And then find the openness in your chest. Trust to lean slightly back with your torso as you draw the hips forward, and keep engagement in your legs so we don't overextend in the hamstrings. Inhale, we're going to use the core to lift ourselves back up. Take your hands to your hips, and then just maybe walk that right foot in a little bit. We're going to face the left side of the mat. Have your toes out and your heels open. We're going to find a squat here. So bend your knees. You want to draw your sacrum, your root forward. Keep a tone in your belly, knees in line with the toes. Use your glutes to turn out the legs. Take your hands down by your thighs. We're going to find a bend. Breathe in. Exhale, right shoulder's going to dip. It's going to find the stretch in the inner thighs as well as your shoulders. Inhale, center. Exhale, left shoulder dips. Inhale, come to center. From here, we're going to lift the arms and lengthen the legs. Exhale, hands come through to heart center, bend the knees. So move with integrity. Inhale, arms lift, lengthen the legs. Exhale, bend through center. And then inhale, lift up. This time we're going to cactus the arms, but bend the knees as well. And then we're going to pause here. So draw your sit bone forward. Maybe your elbows come slightly forward. Lift and open the chest while keeping the ribs knitted in. Feel those glutes engage. I'm sweating a little bit. From here, lift your right heel. Keep the ankle strong. Release the right heel. Lift the left heel. Release. Maybe you do both now. Try it. Keep the ankles nice and strong. Release. Beautiful. Inhale, release, lengthen. And then exhale, take your hands to your hips. You're going to step forward to the top of your mat. I'm just going to face you so you can see what I'm doing. So hands are on the hips. Feet are hip width distance apart. You're going to bring your weight into your left foot. You're going to bend that right leg. Your right foot is flexed. Nice right angle again in that knee. So we're going to do the same thing that we did in the beginning of class, except standing. So you're going to keep the hip bones level. You're going to start to open up the right leg to the right. Hip bones stay forward, exploring your range of motion. Back to center. So find that Tadasana template. So your shoulders are drawing back. There's a tone in your belly. You're finding length through the foot and also through the top of the head. And then from here, we're preparing to come into tree. So you're going to point your right toes and then draw that right foot either above or below the knee. Your choice. Hip bones stay forward. Sometimes our right hip wants to roll back when we're in tree. And then hands could come to center in prayer. Maybe you want to extend the arms up. So take it wherever you like. And if tree is easy for you today, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. But if it is, maybe you want to try coming onto the ball of the left foot, playing with your balance. Or maybe you want to try closing your eyes. Take a few breaths here. And then here we're going to transition into a standing figure four. So same thing we did on our backs, but this time standing. You're going to bend the left knee. You can take your right hand to your right foot and slide it to cross your right ankle over the left thigh. Let your right ankle clear, right foot is flexed. Maybe you feel your left calf on fire supporting you, hands to prayer. And then sit back as if you're sitting in that chair. Nice. So we're going to get into that right hip here while challenging our balance. Keeping the mind nice and still, and we do this by focusing on our breath, just moment by moment. And then with care and control, we'll come out of this. Stay with the sensations as you come to stand. Inhale, arms lift up. Exhale, fold over the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step back, high plank, flow here. Exhale, come down to your belly or halfway up dog or cobra. Exhale back, down dog. Take a few breaths here. And let's continue to the other side with a whole new perspective. So inhale your left leg up high, and then you can bend that left knee, stack the hips. Beautiful. On your exhale, step your left foot through between the hands. Warrior two. Right heel comes down. Cartwheel the arms open. Find that wide stance. So if you were to hold apples in your hands and you were to release them, they'd fall around your ankles. So it's a warrior pose for a reason. So get nice and wide and bend in that left knee and then reach through each fingertip. Let's come into extended side angle, left forearm to left thigh, right arm up, or reach over. Maybe your left hand comes down. Keep those hip bones coming into the midline. Open up through the chest. Keep that back leg engaged. Inhale, use your core in control. Come back to warrior two. Extend the left leg, Trikonasana triangle. Reach towards the front of the mat. Left side of the ribs stay lifted. Exhale, left hand down, right arm up. Use the back of the left hand. Try to keep it nice and light so you're not letting your weight go and let it dump into your left hand, into your left leg. So just as much as you're reaching with that right side body and stretching, you want to find length in the left side body as well. Nice. Inhale, come back to standing. Take your hands to your hips. And now we're going to face the right edge of your mat. This time, toes in, heels slightly out. Take a breath in, find length. Exhale, we'll fold over the hips. Take your hands down to the mat. And then maybe here you want to keep the hands on the mat, or maybe you want to invite in a nice chest opening. So squeezing the shoulder blades together, release the head. So your choice here, what you'd like. Maybe you bring the hands through the legs. So you want to keep integrity in the legs here, as if you're reaching the feet away from each other, you're going to rip your mat apart. That's the sensation we're kind of going for. And then tops of the thighs are pressing back. And you're going to feel this start to create space in the lower base of your pelvis, in your inner groin. And wherever you are, we'll take the hands down. And then to your hips, we're going to keep the legs powered up. And we're going to inhale our way with a flat back. Use your legs to help lift you up. Beautiful. And then come to the top of your mat. And we're going to do our hip sequence and tree sequence on the other side. So hands on the hips. Ground down through that right foot. Hips stay nice and level. Find your Tadasana. You're going to bend that left leg. 90-degree angle in your leg. Hips stay forward. Keep that left hip drawing down. Start to open up with that left leg. Find something to focus on in front of you to help with your balance. So move in and out at your own pace with your breath. And if you're shaking or wobbling, it's great. We're creating new patterns. We're getting stronger. On your last one, open it up. Assist your left foot, point your left toes, find tree, Vrikshasana. So left sole of the foot to the inside of the right leg, either below or above. Take it where you like to go. So we're stable here, but yet at ease. One breath at a time. Now we're going to move through to that figure four. So bend that right knee. Take your left hand, assist the left leg. Let the ankle cross and clear the right thigh. Left foot stays flexed. Sit back as if you're going to sit in a chair. Nice. Breathe into that left hip. Take those shoulders out of the ears. And then we'll slowly come out of this shape. Come to stand, stay with the sensations. Inhale, arms are gonna lift up. Exhale, fold over the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant your palms, take a step back, high plank. Exhale, flow. Push through the palms nice and evenly. Exhale back, down dog. Inhale, come forward to a high plank. And then exhale your way down nice and slow to your belly. So you can put your knees down here. Push through the palms, elbows hug in. And release, point your toes. We're gonna come right into locust pose. So you're going to keep the hands by the chest. Hug the elbows in. Glide the shoulder blades down the back, point your toes. Pubic bone draws down. Tops of the feet press down. From here, inhale, start to squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the forehead, let the palms hover, maybe your chest hovers. You want to keep drawing that belly button towards the back of the spine, head in line with the spine. Maybe here you point your toes so much that the feet lift. Keep breathing, strengthening the back. Find ease. Exhale, release your right ear down to the mat. Take your hands down by your side. We're going to do that one more time, but this time we're going to try with our arms extended overhead with your palms facing each other, so thumbs up. Now, reset. Draw your pubic bone towards the mat. Belly button draws in. Press the tops of the feet down. From here, start to lift the forehead. Maybe lift the arms. There's a little more weight here. Maybe you won't lift as high. Maybe you point your toes so much that your shins lift. Maybe your knees. And then let's release, arms down by our side. Left ear comes down to the mat. Relax. Take your hands by your chest, push yourself up and back, find child's pose. So you can do wide-legged with your toes touch knees wide, or you can do a closed-legged child's pose. Now from here, let's come to a down dog. We're going to move to pigeon. So inhale your right leg up high. And then exhale, right knee towards your right wrist, right ankle towards left. Just heel toe your back leg back in space. Find that levelness in the hips. Take your hands close to you as you inhale. Find lift first in the spine. And then we'll exhale, walk the hands forward. Maybe you stack your fists or use a pillow or a block to rest your forehead here. This is too much for your knee. If you feel any pain, just come back to that figure 4 on your back like we did in the beginning of class. So here we want to try to roll that left inner thigh inwards so our knee is on the ground. Notice if your mind has traveled anywhere, just gently but deliberately bring it right back. And then from here, we'll start to press into our hands, lift our torso up, come onto your right sit bone, swing your left leg forward and around for a seated spinal twist. So you can take your left foot to the outside of the right thigh. Make sure both sit bones are on the mat. If they're not both connected, you can extend your right leg out long. And if this still doesn't work, you can take your left foot to the inside of the right leg. So find your variation. Take your left hand behind you. Use that as a kickstand, as a tripod for support. Right arm's going to lift as you breathe in. Exhale. Start to hug the left knee in towards you. You can either hug and wrap. Sometimes I like to bring my right hand underneath so I can keep the chest open. Twist over to the left. As we breathe in, we get a little taller with the shoulders down, and then as we exhale, we twist from the core over to the left. It's way easier to twist with your neck and your shoulders. Rather, try to twist from your belly. And then the head and the shoulders can come last. Unwind. Maybe take a gentle counter stretch with your hands over to the right. And then let's come into Navasana, boat pose. So take both legs in front of you. Come onto your sit bones. You can start with your hands underneath the kneecaps and then maybe gently rock yourself back. Keep the shoulders coming down the back and then lift through your chest. Heart is reaching forward and up. Now, maybe this is enough for you. You're going to feel your core start to engage. Maybe hear your toes hover. Maybe your shins come parallel to the ceiling. Now, really try to keep that lift in the spine. Maybe your hands come off the legs and you open yourself up here. Maybe you're shaking like me. Wherever you're at today, honor that. One breath at a time, really engage that lower part of your belly as well, which is sometimes harder to access. And then here we're going to cross at the ankles and take your hands forward, shimmy your way back to down dog. And we got to balance that out and do the other side. So inhale, left leg's going to reach up. Pigeon, left knee towards left wrist, left ankle towards right. Shimmy your right leg back. Hips are level. Inhale, nice and tall. And we exhale, come into that sleeping pigeon. Now we internally rotate that right thigh. So it helps us square off the hips and even out the hips a little more. Maybe one side just feels totally different than the other. See if you can relax into it and breathe into it. Just find an all-around ease here. And always remember, where you place your awareness is where you place your energy. And this goes for on and off the mat. Notice if you're gripping anywhere else in your body, your shoulders or your jaw, to try and overcompensate what you may be feeling in the hips. Just shift your awareness right back to where you feel the sensations and breathe into it. Then from here, we're going to come onto the hands, take your left sit bone down. You're gonna swing your right leg forward, find the twist. So right foot can cross to the outside of the left thigh, or take the other variation, both sit bones down, right hand behind you, inhale, left arm lifts. Exhale, twist, your variation. Find length in the spine as you breathe in. Exhale, twist from the core over to the right. Slowly unwind. Take both hands over to the left for a gentle counter twist. And from here, we're going to take the legs forward and come into a wide-legged forward fold. Now getting into the inner thighs, inner groin. So extend the legs out. Maybe here use a block, a pillow, or a blanket to lift your sit bones up if you can't find that comfortable lift. And then gentle, moving your flesh from your sit bones away so you can feel the connection from your sit bones to the ground. Now keep the legs active. We're going to draw the toes towards the ceiling, knees towards the ceiling, and then the backs of the legs are drawing down to the mat. Now maybe here you can keep your hands behind you to keep that spine nice and tall. Maybe you have the space to take your hands just in front of you. Just sit with this. This might be as far as you got to go. Maybe you can start to hinge forward. Now you decide how far you want to go. Try to keep the spine long at first. So legs are active. Just take 2 more breaths here. Maybe you want to fold if you are coming forward. And then let's slowly release. And maybe you just roll yourself back a bit. Take your hands and assist your legs to close. And then shimmy yourself a little forward. Make sure there's space behind you to roll yourself back onto your back. Then we're going to come into shoulder stand because I think it's so delicious. But if you have any spinal injuries or neck injuries, stay away from this shape for now and just find a block if you have one, or a pillow or a cushion, and then take it underneath your tailbone, your sacrum, and rest your hips on there. And even if you don't have a block and you don't want to do shoulder stand, just extend your legs up, whether you're on the block or not. Legs reach up. You're going to take this restorative inversion. If you want to come into shoulder stand with me, take your hands close to your body, lift your hips up, take your hands to your low back, and then pause here, being upside down for a moment. Now try not to look from left to right. Rather, listen to your own intuition and authority. So we don't want to injure ourselves. Now, once you're used to being upside down here, you can take your knees towards your forehead. And then from here, you can start to shimmy your elbows in a little bit closer together. Maybe you walk your hands down the back. And then extend the legs back up towards the ceiling. So most of your weight here is on your elbows, just so you can bring the backs of the legs back in space so your legs are over your hips. Make sure the breath is still traveling freely through the throat. You can stay here, or with control, maybe you start to draw the legs behind you, so towards the back of your head. Keep your low back supported. Maybe your legs touch, maybe they don't touch. Some days my legs touch the ground, some days they don't. If your legs touch the ground, then you can release your hands and interlace them behind you and walk your shoulders in a little closer. Just honor wherever you're at today. One breath at a time, feeling this gentle opening in the top of the spine, maybe in the hamstrings as well. So great for our throat, our thyroid. Refreshes the legs, calms the nervous system. And then if your hands are interlaced behind you, take your hands back to your low back. And then we'll all come down with nice and controlled movements, nice and slow. If you're in that restorative waterfall, you can take your block out. And then we'll all meet in bridge. So bending your knees, take your feet flat on the mat, draw your heels close to your sit bones, and we'll lift the hips up for bridge pose. So making sure here we're gently imagining that we're squeezing something between the legs so our knees stay in line with the hip bones. Press your feet into the ground to lift the hips. Maybe here you interlace your hands and walk the shoulders in a little closer together, reaching your sternum towards your chin. Different sensation in the throat here. Let's slowly come out. Release the hands and the shoulders, and nice and slow we'll roll ourselves down. See if you can get each vertebrae to touch. It might be getting a little harder as you start to bring your mid to low back down, nice and slow. Beautiful. Now from here we'll draw our knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a gentle squeeze, feeling this compression in the hip flexors. You can gently rock. And to finish off our practice, our asana practice, let's come into a happy baby before we come to shavasana. So elbows towards the inside, flex the feet. And then maybe you grab your ankles or your shins or your outer edges of the feet, or explore your peace fingers and your thumb to your big toe. So ankles stacked over the knees, knees towards the sides of the body. You can rock from side to side if you'd like. Maybe play with extending one leg and the other. Make this your own. Nice. And then we'll release into our final resting shape. So extending your legs out long, as wide as the mat, making yourself comfortable. So grab what you need to grab. If you're chilly, get a sweater or a blanket. And we will be resting here. Maybe you take your hands by your side, palms up. Maybe you want to bring your hands to your belly, or one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. And let's just take a breath in together through the nose. Let it go through your mouth. Closing the eyes, because there is nothing left for you to do but to receive the effects of your practice. So really trusting the support of the ground beneath you, letting your weight go, and allowing your muscles to melt off the bones. And here we allow the energy, that buzzing, the electricity, your prana, this is your life force. Just allow it to organize itself into balance and coherence and harmony as you lay here in this ultimate state of receivership. Noticing what it feels like to be at home in the center of your own multi-dimensional being. And know that you always, always have access to this. And slowly start to deepen your breath. Bringing yourself back into this space. Inviting in some movement, wiggling your fingers and toes, gently stirring your body into wakefulness. You can reach with your arms up. Draw your knees in towards your chest to give yourself a good hug. And roll yourself off to one side. You can rest with your bottom arm long and take your ear on your bicep as a pillow. Notice how this fetal shape feels to you as we tune into the energy of gratitude. Just gratitude for our practice, for our bodies, for allowing us to have this physical asana practice, and for carrying us through life. It's unconditional service. And we'll take our top hand to lift us up. You can keep the eyes closed. And we'll come into a seated position. Let's meet here with our palms touching in heart center. Maybe your thumbs touch your sternum and a slight bow of the chin. Lift from the upper and mid back, relax the shoulders, and enjoy these next few breaths here, just with yourself and your breath. Enjoying the stillness that you've generated in the mind, this buzzing of energy, this life force flowing through you. And I invite you to radiate outwards what you wish to receive. And take that on off your mat. Your yoga practice continues. Everywhere you go, moment by moment, finding a little bit more stillness and calm and peace within yourself in all that you say and do. So thank you so much for your trust. From my heart to yours, namaste.